Alright guys, I thought we'll try something different, but yet the same with my usual mashing together of Twitter and TikTok and YouTube. And to start off with, we got a stitch I did with Eddie from Midwest Marxist, and shout out for retweeting it. And I'll show you his TikTok first.
Will innovation cease to exist under socialism? This is what the capitalists always say, right? That a competitive market system will lead to innovation. And this can be true to an extent. A competitive market is definitely better than a market that's monopolized, where companies will purposefully design their products to break so that people have to go buy more. But think about how much human potential and innovation is wasted under capitalism. People are homeless, people are dying of starvation, there are people sent to fight and die in wars. The reality is, even if a working class person has an innovative idea, they're probably not going to be able to act on it because they don't have any money or time. It's like that Stephen Jay Gould quote, "I am somehow less interested in the weight and convolutions of Einstein's brain than in the near certainty that people of equal talent have lived and died in cotton fields and sweatshops." And capitalist innovation is only innovation to make a profit. NASA is a publicly owned company who works to increase human knowledge and exploration, while the privately owned SpaceX works on things like sending rich people to space for fun. We should innovate for the sake of the human race, not just the rich. Will innovation cease to exist under socialism? This is what the capitalists always say.
Everything Eddie said and more. I just want to add like two things to this whole capitalism is why we have innovation thing. It's like, yeah, capitalism is why we use a really innovative way of making electricity, of gathering a resource to burn it, to heat up water, to make steam, to then turn the turbines. Because, yeah, totally get it, because without all the damage we've done that way, might have never have inspired someone to come up with solar panels. But if capitalism wants to claim its innovations, great, I'll help list them. Remember flammable cladding? And capitalism bought us that really amazing building in Sydney, the Opal Tower. Or that and getting rid of those pesky regulations, gotta cut that red tape. Capitalism also gets to claim the amazing innovation of putting tetraethyl lead into petrol. Because back in the day, having it in paint on everything wasn't enough, you needed to inhale it too. And because capitalists try to put a new model of engine on an existing model of plane, instead of redesigning it, bought you 737 MAX. Next up, I wrote in the tweet, it's not as dramatic, but this felt like my sell the houses to who, Ben fucking Aquaman moment. Thank the Majority Report for finding these clips so I don't have to. And I remember realizing, oh, this tweet's doing really well. What? And it's like, thanks guys. Thanks for retweeting it onto the Majority Report page. I have a personal reason why I feel the need to go after people like Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro in particular, but I'll tell you that later. Let's just pick on him for now because he makes it so easy.
Warm 4 degrees Celsius over the course of the next century. I consider that a gradual change that human beings are going to have to adapt to with increased technological know-how as well as innovation, which human beings have been doing for literally all of the history of humankind. Adaptation, we're really good at it.
First of all, 4 degrees hotter, even over 100 years, will make a lot of this earth, unusable by humans. Now, when Ben says people need to adapt, I'm pretty sure that he in particular isn't advocating for mass migration, which people will probably have to do if it gets hotter in a lot of places. And then he says innovation. Like what, Ben? Maybe using renewable energy so we don't have to put more hydrocarbons into the atmosphere, making the earth hotter? Innovation.
Here he is, dipping his webbed flippers into the pool of climate change with his signature Shapiro intellect.
So let's say, for the sake of argument, that all of the water levels around the world rise by let's say 5 feet over the next 100 years, say 10 feet by the next 100 years, and it puts all the low-lying areas on the coast underwater, right? Which, let's say all of that happens. You think that people aren't going to just sell their homes and move?
Just one small problem. Sell their houses to who, Ben? Fucking Aquaman?
And I thought I'd try to help out, because if you say a place and use the right hashtags, you could very well end up being seen by a person in that place on TikTok. So I did what I could, and it did get shared and found by people in Florida. And cheers for retweeting it, Farron. Maybe this might work. Florida, stop scrolling. You see, because I know the discussion in your state would mainly be around the anti-protest laws that DeSantis is bringing in. And they are shit. And you know what else they were? A cover so you could do this in the shadows at midnight. Go tell your family and friends, because I reckon they're trying to hide this from you, that they're going to introduce a consumer tax for with online purchases for anything from a different state. Where like if you buy something online from within the same state, you just have to pay the sales tax as usual. Pretty much that for everything now, which, wouldn't have been the worst thing if they're going to then, put this back into your community. But what their game plan seems to be is to then bring the commercial rent tax down from 5.5% to 2%. So the consumers are having a new tax introduced to them, and commercial taxes are being cut in half. Tell your friends in Florida. Then I saw something I wanted to show my followers on a David Pakman show, and thought that was a good opportunity to let people know that he was on TikTok long before I ever made my account. So yeah, it was kind of an excuse to boost his TikTok.
Take a listen to what Mike Turner said to Maria Bartiromo.
And then you've got Democrats led by Elizabeth Warren reintroducing a bill to block the U.S. from using nuclear weapons first. What's the logic?
Well, there really isn't any that's for our security.
Do Americans forget that they're the only ones that have ever dropped a nuclear weapon on people?
The Biden administration is proposing 16% increases everywhere else but in defense.
I just happen to have calculated how much the US has spent on defense in the last 20 years, and that's hundreds of billions. Rounded down, so that's only shaving off hundreds of millions, In the last 20 years, they spent 12 trillion on defense.
Elizabeth Warren obviously wants to, tie the hands of our generals.
How is saying you shouldn't be the first ones to use nuclear weapons tying the hands of your generals? I don't think so, mate. I call bullshit. Oh, I'm America. Oh, fucking hell. And then conveniently, Bo uploaded a video onto his channel, and after watching it, I thought I want to comment on the same thing, and that was a good excuse to then try and boost his TikTok. Alright, I know I post a lot, but I keep finding insane things I want to show people.
Snorting at them first. They're the aggressors. It's our job to brush them back and restore the society we were born in. So the next time you see someone in a mask on the sidewalk or on the bike path, do not hesitate. Ask politely but firmly, would you please take off your mask? Science shows there is no reason for you to be wearing it. Your mask is making me uncomfortable. We should do that, and we should keep doing it until wearing a mask outside is roughly as socially accepted as lighting a Marlboro in an elevator.
You're really going to have people yelling and screaming that they have their freedom to not wear a mask, but you can't have people have their freedom to wear a mask? That's not very American of you. Why can't people wear whatever the fuck they want? Freedom. Snowflake repulsed by what someone else is wearing. My friend Bo said it well.
Perhaps it would be better to just mind your business.
Point of view, if Sam Cedar was on TikTok. It's another stitch with that same Isabella girl. So I'll show you her TikTok first, and then my stitch afterwards, and you'll see why it feels very Sam Cedar-y. Sam gets what I mean.
No, I don't just only care about money. I'm against theft. I will never support the idea that people should be forced against their will to pay for other people's healthcare services, but really anything for that matter. We citizens aren't allowed to just steal from each other. So how come it's okay when the government steals money from its citizens? Not only does the government steal money from its citizens via taxes against their consent, but they do it under this moral high ground like they're doing us a favor. The government should not be allowed to do anything that we as private citizens are not allowed to do. No, I don't just only care about money. I'm against theft.
Isabella, I always love it when you appear on my For You page via someone else responding to something ridiculous you've said. She goes to say that taxation is theft, obviously. The whole yada yada, pay for your own healthcare. But did we notice that she happened to be sitting in a car? No doubt she paid for it all herself, obviously. But what does she have to drive that car on? That's right, roads. And now, Isabella, if taxation is theft, who are you going to get to build the roads? Because usually, like where I'm from, the government's in charge of that. So I don't mind paying my taxes. I like people being able to have roads to drive on. How do you suggest you do that without taxation? I'll wait. Alright, last one. And Eddie, from the start of this video, he uploads his TikTok live streams to YouTube, and he says something that made me cry and smile at the same time. That happy, sad feeling. And once you watch it, you'll know exactly what I mean, and you'll know exactly why I felt like that.
Oh, could everyone go follow my friend? Hilusa.nation is her username here. She makes fantastic videos. We met when I made a video about Michael Brooks, talking about how Michael Brooks was like a huge inspiration to me and everything I do. And she actually had met Michael Brooks before, so she reached out. Play Other Side by the Chili Peppers. Oh, I used to be able to play that. She reached out to tell me that she had been friends with Michael Brooks, and yeah, we're friends ever since. Thank you so much. No, thank you. You are a truly wonderful person, and I appreciate your support.